Hey friends, I'm going to paint a goose. I'll link the reference photo in this video's description. I think it's on Pixabay, but you'll see the link. It'll have 3 dashes. Here's what it looks like before I messed with it a little bit. Isn't that cute? Just a nice pose. I really like that. I think geese can be really simple, probably the easiest bird maybe to paint. You guys can let me know what you think, because you really only have to worry about a little brush stroke direction and some shadows. You don't have to get, like on a rooster, you have all those feathers that you have to get. So I've printed out my photo to scale for my 12 by 16 inch canvas. I have a link on my Traceables landing page that links to a gal's video on how to do this, in case you're curious. I'll scribble on the back of it with chalk pastel and trace it on because it speeds it up, makes it faster for me. The colors, so why do I already have my canvas colored in? Here, I want to do this before I forget. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of a light color. I like writing the word love on it. This is just chalk pastel from Blick Art Materials. So this was a painting, and I didn't want to advertise what painting it used to be. I took it outside, sanded it, because it had satin UV varnish, Liquitex varnish on it, and that makes it really smooth. So I sanded it to make sure it has some sticking power, something the paint can grip to. Not a ton, just enough to rough it up. And then I put clear gesso with some primary yellow and burnt umber in it, but mostly clear gesso, so it's pretty it's quite transparent. And then I put another coat of a combination of primary yellow, titanium white, and a little burnt umber. And I think that's kind of a fun background. It's a little crazy, but I was just playing. There's really not much point to this background other than the corners are darker, which I might paint over. And then it's a little bit more darker at the bottom. This is a canvas from Michaels. It's 1.5 inches thick. Okay, so I think that, I used, almost was thinking we're done. Where's the brush? Oh, I used a really cheap 1-inch brush to paint that on. Oh, here, maybe you want to see my palette. I'm saving the background palette in case I need it. I think I'm just going to paint greens and browns, maybe really light muted greens and browns, and then get darker down here. And then I want to have daisies with the goose. There, that's what it looks like. Really any color would do. I just wanted to cover up the painting that was underneath it. Okay guys, let's have some fun. Let's chat for a minute. So here's the palette. I started a new one. They're all Liquitex. Here's the primary yellow, which I'm having fun with. It's lighter. It still says it's semi-transparent. It makes a brighter green, as I think I already mentioned. But I just added some brown, some black to it. Also a lot of yellow, a little bit of phthalo blue to make a green. And this is muted. And then I added more brown, yellow, some black to it to make even a sagier green. I'm following the reference photo a bit. Excuse me, guys. I blurred out the background in Photoshop. And I don't know if that is a lake. I think it is a lake. Oh, it is. It's a lake with a fence. Oh, sorry about the glare. But I'm just making it softer and much less distinct. I kind of made the goose look fuzzy, which is fine in the reference photo. I'm not crazy about how this looks, but I think it's going to be fine. And when I look at my phone, which helps me step back from it, I like it. I'm going to put the goose and daisies in it. It's probably going to be just fine. What else? Oh, I think I have room. I didn't really leave room for Quinacridone Magenta because I'm going to need some orange for the beak and the legs. Oh gosh, sorry. My throat's really dry. So I want to let this dry. I think I'll let it dry overnight and I'll be back tomorrow. Let's chat for a minute. So I am using, we'll start with brushes, a 3/4 inch flat brush. I got it from US Art Supply. I think it may have come in a pack. I order, this isn't one, but I ordered help me guys, cradled wood panels. Oh, here, I've got one right here. My head's gonna probably come in. I ordered these in various sizes from US Art Supply. So those are cradled wood panels. Okay, that was hard to say. And I'm using a number 4 round from Princeton. So the little round for the wispies to get in around the eye, and then the bigger brush to paint the shapes on the goose. And so what I'm doing is my sun is coming, from the top and maybe from the left a little bit. So maybe that direction. And I can kind of see in the reference photo there's this shape, and I'm painting it yellow because it's on the sun side. I'm going to come back with some white. Like I've got a little yellow up here. I originally painted that white. A little brown here. I don't really see the brown in my reference photo, but I do see kind of a bluish green here. This is gray. And so I'm just saying, and then there's some reflective light that I've put in. Can you see that? I think you can see that. So I'm making the neck look kind of round by having it warmer here, a little bit darker, and then lighter on the edge. So I wanted to but I'm also thinking shapes. Like this is kind of a triangle shape here, which I can kind of see in my reference photo. As you paint too, you get to know that that'll work. I always say paint pairs, paint circles, paint square, paint blocks. Have a strong light source to practice. Okay, and then I wanted to also say that I am painting this smooth for the most part. I'm not painting the feathers. I've kind of indicated a little bit. The feathers make little V shapes. And I think I'll add some of that in. I don't know yet. Here, let's look at the reference photo. Can you see the little, oops, sorry, my iPad started to fall. The little V shapes right in here? You might not be able to. There you kind of can, I think. But really you don't need to if you don't want to. So that's what I'm doing with this. And you don't have to, you could just paint white, but it's a good rule of thumb. You'll see other artists break this. Warm in the sun, cool in the shade. And then I wanted to also, I had grabbed this because I painted the bird during a live stream, and there you can see many more feathers. If you want to paint more detailed feathers, that might be what it looks like. And I don't paint if you go look at this live, I'll link it in this video's description. I get more, the direction is more important than getting every feather in there. The brush stroke direction. Okay guys, I just wanted to pop in with those comments. I'm trying to figure out where to put that. I mixed a gray green, but I'm actually using the gray more just because I have gray greens in the background, and the gray greens look gray, just straight up Mars black and white. I think that's about it. I made it a little more blue under here. Okay guys, I think that gets us up to speed. I'll be back in a bit. Hey friends, I'm gonna stop here for tonight. Let's see. I went over the body again with another layer of paint just because that first layer was thin. Some of the background was coming through, and that could be okay. There might, I don't know if there still is some background, well maybe down here, coming through. Put in some little detail, painted out some little detail. I'll give you a tour. The last thing I did, this was darker down here, and then when I was looking in my phone, I thought it was a little too much of a dent for the goose, so I lightened that up. So we'll see how it dries. It's getting darker. But I want it lighter than here, which I think it's going to be. Yeah, I think we're good. I made the beak more orange. And then I made this, like here's straight up black right here. Made this darker just to kind of, my center of interest is way up here, just to bring you down. Of course, what's gonna help too is I'm gonna have daisies. I just kind of play with the water a little bit more, put a squiggle in to say water. I think it says water. I like the contrast. I like that I made this darker. Anything else? I don't know if there's anything else. It's loose, and I like it. And I'm hesitating because I'm evaluating it. Okay, let's start. Oh, and the other thing that came to mind, by making this more orange and brighter, it pushes the legs into the shadow even more. Okay. And I just shift colors for fun. Sometimes you can see the color shifts in the photo, or if you pump up the saturation in a photo, you'll see the color shifts. I think it's more interesting and entertaining. There's that squiggle. And then instead of just having a straight line for the shoreline, I'll break it a little with some vertical lines. Here. Kind of let you see the water sort of, I'm sorry about it's crooked. My phone's at angles, the painting's at angles, I'm off to the right. You guys aren't straight on, but you're straighter on than I'm painting. So my phone is just left of center and I'm sitting over here. Just sometimes I think maybe that helps, or sometimes people are curious. Okay, so little soft details in the neck that I painted, put in and painted, softened, painted out a little bit. Couple of stray feathers. Oh, a couple of squiggly, grassy things off in the distance. They may get completely covered up by daisies, but it was fun to put them in. Oh yeah, that is a little bit lighter. I think that's better. The other thing that's nice too is I hadn't worked on it. I worked on it maybe 3-4 hours today. And I hadn't worked on it yesterday or maybe the day before. Can't remember. And I like it not cranking out a painting in a day because I'll see things when I haven't thought about it for a while. Even though it's sitting in my studio, when I start up again, I see different things I might want to do. Okay, oh here, I don't know, could you see the legs? I forgot where I left off. Those are definitely in shadow now. Oh, and they do go on the bottom, but they just end. I'll put some grasses or something over them. Okay, guys, hopefully some of those comments help. I'll be back tomorrow. Hey friends, I'm calling it done. I darkened up the neck a little bit. I played with this a little more, lightened it, made it yellow, made it white. I keep playing with it. Oh, and I played with the shadow under here a little more, made it a little darker. Because I like the contrast. I like that. It really makes the goose come forward, which I think is fun. I drew on a couple daisies with a white charcoal pencil just to help me see if I like where I'm placing them. Let's see if we can see this. I don't know if it's going to focus. It's a General's charcoal pencil. And then I made some here, I'll show you. I just made some mud kind of right here, or I did right here. Sometimes it's greener. Sometimes I took this, what is it? I can't even read it hardly anymore. 3/8 inch angle brush from Royal and Langnickel. It made it a little redder, more red, adding some quinacridone in it. Thinned it out with water, and then just took the point, smushed it, and turned it, and made some broadleaves. Made some skinnier, darker ones, just, near the pond or whatever that is, near the water. I'm cleaning it out so I won't forget. So that's all I did with that. And then I used a lighter beige color for the first round of petals right there. So it's just some of this mud that was browner, some white, and not quite as much water because I wanted it to cover the background a little bit better. If it doesn't cover, you can put another layer on it. It's just the stuff I'm thinking about. I don't always get it right. And made like this petal and this petal. And all I did was like put it down. My brush is wet and I don't want to, my paint's dry-ish. Just kind of put it down and then smushed it. Maybe even turned it a little. Or here's just a little square stroke. I'll do a tour so it's up close. And then dried it with a hair dryer and then put some really thick white on it so that you have the light catching the petals. I put a little pink right there just because there's pink right there. And actually I glazed just a little pink there and I don't know if it needs it. Just kind of playing with the color a little bit. Here, let's do a tour. So at the end of this painting, for all the grasses and the daisies, I used this 3/8 inch angle brush from Royal and Langnickel. It came in a pack of about 5 or 6 brushes. I got it at Michael's. If you have a Michael's store near you, you can really use any brush. The only reason I picked that one is about my petal size. Okay, so let's just do a tour. So I don't know how many days later this is when I painted the grasses and the daisies. So I brought this up just to kind of bring you up towards the goose's face. Oh, here, let's talk about that a little bit. So that was really strong in my painting until I added the 3 daisies. And the goose is kind of on a third. And so I could put in more daisies, or you can if you want. But I'm also I put some orange in them, because I want to bring you, they're like bullseyes, to help bring you around the painting a little bit. Otherwise, there's just so much color in that orange up in the beak. Okay. And then 3, you could do more, but 3, so this one looks in, this one actually looks this way, which is okay. This one looks up towards this, towards there, this one looks towards there. So you get a triangle effect going, almost. And then there is a little bud, I put a little orange on that bud. Okay, that might have been too much info. I mean, you might have got it the first time or something. I worry that I'm not being clear. And you can tell depending on how I hold it, and now my painting's looking sort of at 2 large windows here in my studio. It changes the colors and the values too. I'm trying to get it in. Well, here, maybe we'll go close so you can see the petals. Okay. There's the bud. I originally painted really light limey green to get the stems and like the bud in, and then I came back and darkened parts of them. There's that one. Not that pretty of petals when you're really close. They're painterly, but when you get back, they'll look smoother and neater. Let's go close on that one. That one has that rectangle petal. There's some of the light green, and I came back with dark, like a dark reddish brown almost. And there's some of the soft, squishy. So here, let's see if I can aim. I really pushed with my brush, and it was really watery. Well, not really watery, it's quite thin. Might be a better way to describe it. You'll have to play with it and see what you think. Oop, I'm getting probably kind of crooked. Covered up the legs some. Oop, I'm hitting my light, that's why it's not moving. I did paint on the sides a little. Can you get it up high enough with my, here, I'll just push the light up. Paint it on that side. And I think I can get this in because it's not that big of a canvas, and paint it on the bottom. I really like it. Been doing softer colors lately. Okay guys, I think that covers it all. I added leaves and stems and whatever until I felt like I had enough. And I was trying, I mean, you could put in a whole bunch more. Like it's loaded. I Googled geese and daisies or something in it. There's a couple geese and a whole pile of daisies, wild daisies. But I pretty much kind of want to control what I'm thinking. And I think it works okay, is I want to control that you stay over here. Kind of look at these 3 things. Okay, guys. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Leave them in the comments. I'll link some fun stuff in this video's description. I always do. I can't thank you enough for your support. I super appreciate it. Great, big, happy art hugs, and I hope to chat with you soon. Bye, guys.